This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole, and today's show, oh wow, I'm out of sync. Look at that. And welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you are the real star of today's show, the Pit Crew, and thank you for being here. Happy Friday. It's great to be back, and before I even get to today's show, I want to thank John Hill. He came in, and I got to tell you, it's not easy. There is so much going on doing this show, following the chat, following the stories, having your head in the game, operating the broadcast studio. It's not easy, and thank you, John Hill, for doing it and just keeping the wheels going on the machine. So thank you very much. I had a great vacation. It's great to be back with you guys. I missed you guys. I missed doing this, and it is, again, great to be back. So thank you for being here. Happy Friday to all of you. I hope you have big plans for getting out and doing some racing this weekend. I sure do. One note, and sorry to take things on a somber direction, but while I was away, I got word, and I know Mitchie and I know John both mentioned some things, and I know a lot of you guys talked about it in the chat, but Ellis Jones, one of our patron crew, passed away. And, you know, if you've done sim racing a long time, you know of people who've passed away in doing it. And Ellis was a little bit closer. He was part of the pit crew. He was part of one of us. And we built a real tight-knit group here. And so I feel real bad talking about it again. But I'm bringing it up. And I'm not going to use the cliche thoughts and prayers. Because what does that really mean? You know, we know it's hard on the family. And we know it's difficult to lose a loved one. And so anyway, for us, I feel like we lost one of our crew. And at the end of the show, I have credits with a list of the patron crew members. I think we are going to highlight Ellis's name and leave it up there forever. And we do have a Simpit event coming up, and I think we're going to do something during that event. But again, it strikes home. And so anyway, that's that. And I just didn't want to let it go unmentioned by me. So back to the good news side of things. What's going on in sim racing? What can we talk about on Friday going on in sim racing? Starting off with Project Cars. Nick Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton's brother, set a lap time at Monza, a 1:43.970. I have not taken the La Ferrari out at Monza to know if that's a good time. He did this with a default setup. So I've said things to you guys. I want to see you guys get out there and race. I want to see you guys get out there and compete. I want to see you guys go beat Nicholas Hamilton or Sim Racing Girl. What I need you to do is start sending me a screenshot of your lap time. Let's go ahead and reward ourselves. Let's pat ourselves on the back for a job well done. So when you see one of these challenges, I want you, if it's in your means, go see if you can do it. Can you better Nicholas Hamilton? If you do, send me a screenshot. Maybe I'll put him on the next pit stop. Next up, iRacing. Big news while I was away was that they lost the Blancpain sponsorship. And you know, when Assetto Corsa Competizione came out, we talked about it maybe holding that license. And would it be both ways? We predicted this is one of the possibilities. Anyway, not a huge big deal because I don't think iRacing fully took advantage of that sponsorship well enough anyway. In terms of some of the cars, tracks, things like that. But WRC has stepped up and they are now the sponsor. I believe they're going to have the same payout. It's still going to be just as big of a story. Yeah, 10,000. So it's still the same prize money, still the same big deal, but new sponsorship. You guys like the beard? Yeah, the beard's starting to come in a little bit. It's starting to annoy me more and more, but I'm going to keep going for a while, see how it goes. First time ever. I want to see you not embarrass him, Tom. I want to see you better him. All right. Next up, WRC. Next stage is at Mexico. Again, here's one of those leaderboard challenges. It's sort of open to all e-sport of sorts. Get out there. I want to see what you can do. If you have WRC and you can get on this leaderboard, I don't care where you are. Send me a screenshot of your time just so I can know about it. Dakar. I was boring John Hill to death, sending him all the images from Dakar each day. But today is animated. Today we actually have rain effects. Is that something we're going to be seeing? Is that something we're going to get to enjoy? Is it going to have good rain quality like Project Cars? Is there going to, who knows? But this is a game I'm excited about, and we'll play when it gets there. Next up. Also while I was away was part 1 of the race department interview with Kunos. This is with Marcos and Stefano, and I have not seen it yet, but I know about it. Part 2 is now going on live, or has already occurred. That was 21 hours ago. So you can probably watch the replay. You can find that at the race department Twitter. And of course, you'll find all the links to all these topics at thesimpit.com. A lot of comments on the hair. Anyway, I'm enjoying it though. I've never, ever had a beard. Rudy Van Buren. So, if your team is doing mediocre in testing, you probably look for the next big media story to keep McLaren in the limelight other than bad news. So, Rudy Van Buren is being thrown in front of the PR guys. He's being thrown doing interviews and various different things at the big Formula 1 preseason test that's going on. A little more than just being a sim driver, isn't it? You know, yeah, here's your job as the sim guy, and now you're going to be at this, you're going to be at that, you're going to go to Riyadh. Rudy Van Buren, everyone. Alright, so, Ferrari's kicking ass in preseason testing. Sebastian Vettel warned about jumping to early conclusions, and the only reason I'm mentioning this, give me one moment here. Sorry about that. The only reason I mention this is I think of something that goes on in sim racing across the board, and that's the potential for sandbagging. So I go in a room and I look at the leaderboard and I think, oh, I'm 8th. Oh no, I got to pick up time. I don't know the conditions that everybody ran. I know that he was running on Pirelli's hyper soft tire to set a lap record in the Ferrari, but again, don't read too much into what you see. You never know what each team is testing and whether they're even being apples to apples. Our team's sandbagging just for the ego of being on top of the leaderboard. So think about how that compares to what we see in sim racing as well. Cockpit Project. Just this I found, and I have the link. You can check it out yourself. X Simulator DIY project using an Arduino board, a Motor Master, and his own, I believe he made this cockpit himself out of a mold. But a real Formula 1 type cockpit. Looked like he had suspension on there and everything. So, next up, Parker Kligerman back at the simulator in one of those Fanatic. I believe that's a Fanatic rig. That's a Fanatic wheel. And here he is showing you the way around Phoenix in the NASCAR Simulator. So again, NBC putting simulators out there. I saw a Lexus commercial that has a CXC simulator in it. So we are going mainstream, people. Not going to dwell on this. In fact, this is something I almost want to call the Simpit Army out for. Sparco. They did a big thing with the Assetto Corsa. There's a big party going on. Sparco rigs, PR people, booth babe type girls, all this going on promoting Assetto Corsa. And I'm mentioning because kudos to them. Kudos, I get it. Kudos to Kunos for doing this big PR event, and that's always good for us. And the other reason I mention is I cannot get a Sparco rig. So if you want to be part of the Simpit Army, go to Sparco and say, I'd love to consider your rig, but I'm not going to until I've seen it reviewed on the Simpit.com. Go ahead and get out there. Be part of the Simpit Army. Be part of the pit crew, making sure things happen here at the Simpit. Let Sparco know you want to see their stuff on our show. Maybe that'll have an impact. Maybe that'll make the difference beyond me contacting them. Not going to dwell on this one. PC Games has a game. This could be a Monday Fun Day type game. H1Z1 goes free to play and launches on an esport league to go along with it. This is a military racing shooter game, from what I can tell. You drive around in Humvees and blow things up. Very GTA, very Grand Theft Auto in its own way. Looks interesting. Something I'd like to try out and see what more about it. We've been talking a lot about computer deals going on. Certain things are very expensive right now. Other things are getting very expensive. I mean, very affordable. You can get an i5 8600K with 16 gigabytes of RAM and the motherboard for $500. This is all good stuff. This would be a good backbone for a good to great sim racing rig, and throw a good video card on that and you're all done. Speaking of deals, the 27-inch 1080 LG monitor is on sale for $140. You're talking about 75 hertz, 1 millisecond response time on a 1080p monitor. So not a bad deal there if you're looking for a monitor deal right now. Shoot, you get 3 of those for, what would that be, $420? We have some price points. So the new Gen Ryzens are coming out, the 8-core, the 6-core, and we have some chipset prices here. So again, if you're looking to build a new gaming rig, new racing rig, and you want to switch over to AMD, which I got to tell you, they're starting to make a great argument for AMD nowadays. I've been an Intel guy for a while, but it might be time to go back to AMD, and I've been there before. Cool event going on at Tech Power Up, and this is the G-Skill Overclocking World Cup of 2018. I watched an overclocking competition once at an NVIDIA show I was at, and it's awesome watching these guys use like hydrogen and nitrogen and things to keep things cool as they blow up top-of-the-line computers in an attempt to get every bit of speed out of them. So big money to the winner, 10 grand in cash, and a cool event. Sim Racing Observer has another great article about iRacing. Sim Racing Observer has become one of my favorite sites because I love the way they don't just write an opinion, but they put great foundation into their thoughts. They don't just say, oh, this sucks, or oh, this is great. They give you that foundation. It's kind of the way I treat a review. I don't just say, oh, it's great, it's terrible. I tell you why. I hopefully give you enough info so by the time I give you my opinion, you have your own. And I think Sim Racing Observer, when it comes to their writing, has that same ability. And they're just kind of talking openly about iRacing marketing. And this is a conversation I have with John Hill all the time. Something I'm thinking about getting John Hill on the phone. No, in the studio with me. We'll use the big silver mic and just have a conversation about that topic. You might see that coming up very soon as well. Review at Race Department on American Truck Simulator Oregon Industry Preview. So this is something I'll have to check out on one of my downtime Monday fun days. If I ever get back to ATS, I'll definitely want to check that out. And if you play it all the time, I know a bunch of you guys do, you're going to want to get out there and check that out. This is a cool article. RAD is a new system to help the visually impaired play racing games. Visually impaired. So here, check this out. I'm not going to play the whole video. I have the link at thesimpit.com. Here's this guy. He's blind. And they are going to put him on this audio system. And he is driving. He is visually impaired. Watch. He's not even looking at the screen. And he's driving. Now, albeit, it's not great. But it's not great. You can tell it's like a, he's using a hand controller. And I believe he goes wide at one point. But this is amazing technology. This is the era we're at. The blind are able to drive. Next, Feel VR. A lot of people sent me news on this one. I did get the email from them as well. And I can actually bring that up as well. What they have done is announced their pricing. So what we have here is they had their early bid. They're kind of doing like that crowdfunding type mentality on this wheel, pedals, and more. Excuse me, sorry about that. But you can see there's a $50 jump on the pedals between early bird now and what will be when their launch comes out. Same thing on the wheel. Early bird went from $3.99 up to $4.49 now. Retail will be $6.69, and so on. I am in contact with them. They are actually fairly close to me. I might have to just drive down there and bang on the door. Another thing I never saw, or they've updated their website, so this gives you an idea on their torque and value. Bang for buck on torque. Scale versus like the OSW, AccuForce, Fanatic, Thrustmaster, and Logitech wheels. Thawman, that's something we're looking into as well. And that actually takes me to the end of the news. So again, all the stories are at the Simpit. Here's the thumbnail from today's show. You go there and you can cut and paste all the links from all the shows, all the topics we discussed here. Beyond that, also at the Simpit, you'll find our leaderboard. Thank you, Dennis, the big one, for setting this up. And right here, you can see the leaderboard right now for Nürburgring GP. Last night, the guys raced there. I am going to try to race tonight. I have so much going on, and I don't know how much prep I'll be able to do, but I sure want to get out there. But you can see Suelo Brendo leading the way with a 209.69. Jonathan White, Ricardo Mascarenas, Dubs, Nuno Calvajo, rounding out the top 5. Austin Ognoski, I see him in 8th, and it looks like Jonathan gave it a go in the Mercedes and is in 9th as well. Joa sitting in 11th. So, good job to those guys. Thank you, Dennis, for providing that server for us. If you want to join us, get out there and join us. If you join, you'll actually get to run with us. I stream the races when I'm out there. We have a 24/7, 365-day server. You can go here, that link. I followed that link here, the leaderboard link at the Simpit. And that takes you, I can look at the track map and see what guys are doing right now on the practice server. So, really cool stuff going on. And that's all at Sim Racing Systems. And if you go there, you scroll down, you'll see that we're running at Nürburgring tonight for the 4th race of our 6-week-long season. So, yeah, and then that's tonight at 6 p.m. will be that race. And I am going to get out there. I'll make that race. So I'll be back on the air at 6, and we will do that. I have a lot of practice to get ready for this weekend's race at Sebring. I'm way behind on practice and all that, and then getting the show back and running at full speed. So that is going to do it today. Happy Friday once again to you, the pit crew. Thank you for being here. It's great for me to be back, hanging out with my friends, just talking about sim racing. Now it's time to get out on track and do some driving. That's going to do it for today. Have a great weekend. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.